right, we'll call to order the September 24th, 2025 Planning and Zoning Board meeting. So I'll call the roll, please.
Gigi Dubeck,
Yes, here.
Marianne Edge,
Here.
Paul Fisher,
Here.
Robert Hartzell,
Here.
Tundra King,
Here.
David Mingus, Fred Stazer.
Here. Okay, so Mary Ann's sitting in for, I guess, Carla Coleman tonight, and Dave Mingus, it looks like, may not make it, so. Okay, and with that, we'll have our traditional 30-second moment of silence at this time, if you would, please. Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of August 27th. Chair will entertain a motion.
Make a motion we approve the minutes from August 27th.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any corrections on the motion on the minutes? I have one. In the, I believe it's in the first or second paragraph, there was a mention of the potential postponement, and it was it should have been for Commissioner Fessick, for Commissioner Fournier. Anybody have any other changes? All right. Seeing none, Saul, you want to call the roll on the amended minutes, please?
Tundra King,
Yes.
Paul Fisher,
Yes.
Gigi Dubeck,
Yes.
Marianne Edge,
Yes.
Robert Hartzell,
Yes.
David Mingus, Fred Stazer.
Yes. Okay. With that, next item on the agenda is individuals testifying tonight need to be placed on under oath. So if you would at this time, please stand, raise your right hand, and Saul will swear you in.
Thank you. Do you swear or affirm that the evidence you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Okay. And with that, item number one, the industrial redevelopment of flea market site, major site plan, P&Z 24-12, 4024. Address is 2900 West Sample Road. And it looks like Mr. Weems is going to present tonight. Thank you.
Good evening. Max Weems, Principal Planner and Development Services, filling in for Project Planner Pamela Stanton. This is the site plan review for the Festival Industrial Redevelopment. It is located at 2900 West Sample Road. It's the former site of the Festival Flea Market. I think we're all familiar. The project, it is a I-1 zoning district on an industrial land use. It did have a land use plan and rezoning completed in 2022. The project proposes 3 warehouse buildings with ancillary office space on a 25-acre site. The building sizes range from 60,000 to almost 300,000 square feet, and all under a height of 44 feet. Through the major site plan review process, it did go to DRC twice and was approved unanimously by AAC July 1st. The project did have a variance application that was approved by the ZBA last Thursday, and that was to alter the minimum stacking lane distance for the parking lot entrances. So you'll see a modified condition when I get to the conditions in my staff report. So in the backup for the staff report, you will see all of the review standards addressed by staff, where the project is compliant with those standards. And now I'll read the department recommendation into the record. I'd like to modify condition 1 to read maintain compliance with variance 25-11000013 and its 5 conditions. 2, the approved racetrack site plan located on the same property has an active development order. The industrial redevelopment site plan and the racetrack site plan must be coordinated so that neither project includes conflicts in vehicular or pedestrian movement, drainage, water, sewer, landscaping and irrigation, tree mitigation, pervious area requirements, etc. 3, the plat must be amended for the NVAL and plat restrictions. 4, provide evidence that all easements and right-of-way shown on the plat that are not shown on the site plan have been successfully vacated or abandoned. 5, provide a cross-access easement agreement for the portion of the property designated as B3 out parcel. 6, provide the required perimeter landscape strip at the utility service parking space at the southeast corner of the property. 7, a 2-foot right-of-way dedication is required for Northwest 27th Avenue for an overall required width of 84 feet or 42 feet to the center line. 8, a master sign program is required prior to permit issuance for the installation of any sign. 9, provide written approval from Broward County staff on the proposed driveway lengths for driveways 3 and 4 prior to the issuance of any building permit for the site. 10, standard conditions of approval and/or specifications required prior to building permit, zoning compliance permit issuance, A through C. This concludes the staff report. I'm available for questions. The applicant also has a full presentation.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for staff before we move to the applicant? I think I do, Max. 2 things. The design, even though there has to be a dedication of the 2 feet, this was already designed around it? I mean, setbacks and everything were designed?
Correct. The site is designed to accommodate the 2-foot setback and that.
Or the 2-foot easement, I mean, 2-foot dedication, yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
It is also shown on all of the relevant drawings. The condition is really there just to ensure that that's completed before building permitting.
Okay. All right. Anybody else? Okay. That's it. Mr. Mealy, I assume you didn't come here just to visit. You're probably here to tell us something important.
Good evening. Dennis Mealy, 200 East Broward Boulevard, Fort Lauderdale, on behalf of the applicant. And we have a few slides to show. Thank you. If you have any questions at any point, please stop me. So this is the subject property. You notice that the corner of 27th Avenue and Sample Road, that's where the racetrack gas station is going to go. So basically what happened is one company owned all this property. They're selling that corner piece to racetrack. They're selling the rest of it. In fact, we closed today on the property that you see outlined in yellow.
That's
We didn't
confidence.
want to prejudge tonight.
I was going to say, that's
Any more
confidence.
time. We had to close today.
How long is that rescission clause? Okay.
All right, so at any rate, this is what it looks like now, but I'm sure many of you have been there already. And then a lot of this Max already went over, so I'll just go through it quickly, but those are the buildings we're doing. Just a little better color site plan that you see, and you see the crosshatched at the corner. That's where the racetrack is going. And then just some renderings of the building. As Max said, we did go to the AAC. They unanimously recommended approval of the design. And obviously, we don't know who the tenants are yet, so we just say tenant. Obviously, it'll be whoever it is when they come. And then, you know, whenever we submit these plans, we have to do our green building points, our sustainable points. So these are some of the things that we do to satisfy those. Parking, again, making sure not only we have the required parking, but it's distributed around the site so that it's convenient to all 3 buildings. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you very much.
First one is, you're okay with the 10 conditions of staff, including the revision on the first item?
Yes, we are.
Okay. Okay. Anybody want to? Go ahead. Go ahead.
It's for staff of the applicant. These are huge. I mean, these are giant warehouses. Is this a distribution center? And if it was a distribution center, is there a separate zoning code or something that this would go under if it's operated as a distribution center?
So this is just regular warehouse like you're seeing. I've done several recently. There's a couple right off of Blunt Road and Sample Road that have been built. Very similar to what you're seeing there, these types of buildings. Another one across the street from the county bus station on Copans and Blunt, very similar to what we're talking about here.
Just to answer the question directly, warehouse and distribution are reviewed under the same standards. It's the same use in our code, which this was evaluated as.
Okay.
Yes. Are you done? Robert, you done? Okay, Mrs. King, go ahead.
I don't know if there were any traffic studies or anything done, but I am concerned because there is a school down there, and they do have buses going back and forth. I know it's kind of tucked away, but there's a elementary school there
Right.
in that area. So I know you're saying these are warehouses, but a lot of parking and a lot of cars. Before, the way it was, the parking was just primarily kind of contained to the front area, to the north area of the flea market. So it just seems like a lot of additional traffic, and I'm just wondering how that may or may not impact. Obviously, I would be concerned about the school that's down there and the buses coming through.
So, first of all, there is less traffic associated with this development than there was with the other one, because that was retail, right? So there was more traffic, even though the square footage was less. And if I'm just showing the site plan now to show that the parking is distributed pretty evenly around the property, but most importantly, you see the areas in the center that have the dark gray? Those are the truck court areas, so they're between the buildings, so that trucks are isolated from the cars separately. But yeah, this was reviewed by police and fire as part of the DRC process, and I think everyone feels comfortable that the driveways that we have on 27th, the ones we have on Sample, the good news, we have 4 separate driveways to the site, so it'll distribute the traffic pretty well. So depending on what direction you're going in, you may use the Sample Road exit or the 27th Avenue exit, but more of it will be on Sample than will be on 27th.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Mrs. Edge, looks like she wants to chime in.
Couple questions, thank you. Can you talk briefly just on this, first we'll start with this topic of trucking and circulation and the various entrances and exits you mentioned. The ones, I think they're both from the north, all from the north? Correct me if I'm wrong on that. No, I do see one on the southeast corner as well. If you could just kind of briefly talk about that, especially including some of them, it looks like are one way in, one way out. If you anticipate any issues with trucks especially, but really any of the traffic coming in, making U-turns, if there's, especially with the larger industrial traffic that can come from that rather than the commercial traffic of the flea market. Has that been evaluated, and maybe you can touch on it for us?
So a few things. First of all, the intersection of 27th and Sample has a traffic signal, which is a good thing. That'll eliminate U-turns. So if you're coming from the east, you can turn left onto 27th and then turn right at that northernmost driveway on 27th where all the truck courts are. If you're a truck, that's the way you're going to go. Although we did auto-turn programs on all of this to make sure that trucks could get around the site and that fire trucks can get around the site. But the most convenient way, if a truck was coming from the east, would be to turn left at 27th and then turn right into the driveway. We think that more of the trucks are probably going to be coming from the west because we're right next to the turnpike. So if they get off the turnpike at Sample, a right turn right into that first driveway on Sample Road and go straight down to the truck court. So there may be traffic coming north or south on 27th, but it's going to be much less than the traffic coming east or west on Sample.
Thank you for that. Another question, there is this small out parcel noted on the northeast corner between the proposed warehouse buildings and the gas station, convenience store?
So that corner out parcel is the gas station.
Okay,
And at one point, there was going to be a second building. There was going to be a auto parts store or something. If that went away, we purchased more of the property. So it's just the gas station and us.
okay, so at this time then there's just a vacant grass area, it looks like in the northeast corner of your site?
That's a retention area for
Retention.
drainage.
Okay, okay. Um, Just on that same topic, you mentioned purchasing property separate from the gas station. Maybe this is more for staff, but for you. It was designed to be a completely separate property, yes? There's no issues with shared drainage, shared buffers, setbacks, any of that sort of thing?
They're both self-sufficient, they both handle their own parking and everything else.
Okay. The site there is shown just for reference?
Well, there was a master plan at one point that showed both properties. So even though we're buying part and the gas station is buying part, we still had to protect that master plan and make sure everything worked together. That's why you have that one condition, to make sure that our plans and their plans match. And they've already made adjustments to their plans based on our plan. Because, as I mentioned, originally, they were going to buy the gas station piece and a auto parts store next to it. They're not doing the auto parts store anymore, so we made sure we reconciled the gas station with our plan.
And I also just want to say that cross-access easements, drainage easements are all being taken care of through the DRC process for the gas station and, of course, with this review for the site.
Okay, thank you.
So even though we're self-sufficient, you have to tie everything together. Cross-access, obviously, you need so everybody can use all the driveways. And I'm sure there's drainage lines and pipes and everything that go through the property that need to reach the outfall, wherever that is. So actually, the outfall's to the south, that big lake.
Or the lakes?
Okay,
I have a question.
Okay, just a second.
that's all for right now, thank you.
Go ahead, Mrs. King.
As it relates to safety, I drove through there the other day and I saw like 4 or 5 homeless people sleeping over there. So I don't know how far out this project will be, but are there some things in place to perhaps address that?
So now that we've closed, we'll go out there and make sure that we're taking care of things, but I'll tell you what's left for us to do. So you notice the 2 items that have to go to the county are the plat note amendment and the non-vehicular access line amendment. Those have already been approved here. We've already filed those applications with the county, and we hope to be on the county commission agenda within the next 60 days. Once that's done, we'll be out there starting work. So I know we need to secure the site as best we can now, but we're going to be out there working very soon.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Mr. Hartzell.
I think you were asked twice whether there was a traffic study for the traffic on 27th. Is there a traffic study?
So yes, we did do a traffic analysis for the site plan and also we initially did one for the land use amendment, right?
Right.
Many of you remember we were here on the land use amendment a couple years ago. So we did one for the land use amendment. Of course, we analyzed traffic again for the site plan. The site plan traffic analysis is much more fixed to the site. Where are your driveways? How are people turning? How do they circulate in and out of the site? Land use traffic study is more about the volume of traffic of the old use compared to the new. So yeah, traffic's been looked at a couple of times on sample and on 27th.
The thing that concerns me is if and I think it concerns you, that 27th, there's a school on 27th. Now, most trucks, like semi-tractor trailers, will probably come off the turnpike, go into your development, probably off Sample Road. However, if it's a distribution center, they typically consolidate into smaller vans, and those things shoot off in the morning, go do the deliveries about the same time that schools are in session. Do you know if that's been evaluated at all?
Yeah, I think it has. And one more thing. When I think of the vans, of course, I immediately think of the gray vans with the little blue smile on the side, right? And so we had a project elsewhere in Pompano that was planned for warehouses like this over on Blount Road near Sample. And we got it approved, but then Amazon came in and said, we want to make this our last mile facility. So we had to come back here and go through the whole process all over again, because when you do that, you completely change the plan, because you have to have these rows of van parking spots, and they pull up alongside of the building, they load them, and they go. So this is not set up for that at all in this site plan. It would be a totally different, what I'm trying to say is it would be a totally different configuration of buildings if we were doing that type of use. And I know you're not just focusing on Amazon, I'm just using that as an example.
Right, it's usually the size, I mean, the sheer size of these warehouses. I mean, anything over 100,000 square feet these days is a distribution center, and that seems to be where warehouses are going,
Well, certainly,
especially off the turnpike.
certainly in locations that are near interchanges on an expressway, they'll be conducive to that type of work. But also, if you look at this area, we did this when we first came with the land use amendment, there's a bunch of industrial south of us. It's a huge industrial park association. In fact, that's how our drainage is all this entire association. So there's already that activity out there with trucks. I think the good news is we're right up on Sample. Some of those other uses are further south down in 27th. So it's going to be a lot easier for us to keep our traffic onto Sample and away from the south.
Right, and I think here we're more worried about the minutia of it rather than the land use amendment to change it to industrial. Here we're looking at what is this site plan going to do to that traffic?
So the other thing, when the land use plan amendment was done, and Mr. Olin will remember this, there was an administrative hearing somewhere in the northern part of the state, and they said, if you are doing a land use plan amendment, a land use map amendment, and you do a traffic analysis, then you need to put that number in the land use plan, the number of square feet you use for the basis of your traffic analysis. So in our situation, I think the number was over 700,000 square feet that we could have done under that traffic analysis as part of the land use amendment. And you see, I think our total is, so we're at 474,000, where when the land use amendment was done, it was over 700,000, the way the traffic looked. So I think that also, makes a reduction of, 30%, 40% of what it could have been. And I'm not suggesting we ever would have tried to fit that much on the property. That's how the traffic analysis for the land use amendment showed it could have been.
Okay.
Huh? Good, okay. All right, I just have one little thing. I just wanted, I think you've answered this, but I just want to, so you've already obviously spent time with the county. You're comfortable, whatever FDOT situation you have on samples, because you have a new driveway situation on Sample. Obviously, the inval has the effect, but they're gonna give you that. I mean, that's gonna be a given.
So we already have the letter from the DOT
Okay,
approving our driveways.
so those three driveways out there are, those two driveways out there.
So Sample Road, those are already signed off by
Okay.
DOT. And the 27th Avenue, we're in review.
Is the county.
County
This is
now.
Broward traffic.
That's why Max gave the condition that we have to get that finished before we get a permit.
Okay.
talked
And you've obviously, you said you'd already talked with them, that you guys are in process. Obviously, I don't think your client would have closed if he didn't know whether he was going to have those driveways on 27th Avenue.
I spoke to the assistant county engineer this morning.
Yeah.
I was hoping to get some news before tonight.
Yeah.
And it's really, the only issue that the county looks at here is the length of the driveway between 27th Avenue and the first place you can turn your car inside the site. Right? They want to make sure that's long enough that it doesn't back up out.
Stacking.
That's really the only thing that we're dealing with them on now. And so far, it looks like we're going to be fine.
Okay. All right. I don't think I have anything else. Anybody else?
I have one more.
Yeah, Marion, go ahead, Mrs. Edge.
Quantity of parking on site. I mean, it's a big site, so it is hard to kind of conceptualize how much this parking is and whether it's appropriate amount for the building, but just based on the numbers, the plan showing is required 296, provided 422, if I'm reading that right, which seems like a lot more than required. So as the applicant, can you explain why so much? And it doesn't look like a lot on the plan, but can you tell us more?
So in these types of buildings, you're going to have a percentage of office and a percentage of warehouse. And so make an assumption at the beginning of what that percentage split is going to be. And just like if you're doing a shopping center, you may think of a percentage of retail and a percentage of restaurants, right? Because restaurants require more parking per square foot. So you put in some extras so you have some flexibility. In the shopping center circumstance, maybe you get more restaurants that want to come and you don't have to turn them away. Same thing with us here. If somebody says, I need 20% of my space as office instead of 10%, we want to be able to accommodate them. and that's why we have extra parking. And at the end, there may not be as much extra as we think if we get users that want a little bit more office and a little bit less warehouse. But we'll still have enough, but we won't have maybe as much excess.
Couple of follow-up questions on that. The buildings as are currently designed, and I know this could change, we're talking about the site plan, but as you're currently conceiving of the project, are we talking about one tenant per building? Are we anticipating one tenant per little roll-up door bay? Is there a expectation of what the likelihood is, quantity of tenants?
So it can be a combination of one tenant per building, or you could have a series of smaller tenants. And the reason that you put the roll-up doors in the back in a lot of different places is so you have as much flexibility as possible. If somebody comes and say, you know, maybe, David, what's the standard size of bay? Bay is 10,000 square feet. So let's say a standard bay is 10,000 square feet, but you come and you say, I want 28,000 square feet. We can accommodate that because it's just putting a demising wall in the right place. And the dock doors in the back, there's flexibility depending on how someone works. The main thing that we see is don't think that because you see these dock doors that every one of them is going to be occupied, because they're not. When you look at these type of buildings, look at it during the day, you know, standard day of the week, standard time of the day, and you'll see maybe 10% of them actually have a truck parked there. But you don't know which location they're going to want, so you put those doors. And the reason you put them in the back and in between is so you don't see them from outside the property. In fact, I think you have a rule in Pompano, you can't do it, so you
Yeah.
see it from outside.
And we make them face in.
So with that understanding that this is built potentially to accommodate multiple tenants, it might be
Right.
several large tenants, it might be a variety of smaller tenants or a mix thereof, and knowing you've built in some flexibility with your parking, including to accommodate more than the typical breakdown of office warehouse that you've shown on here, and knowing that this industrial zoning district allows for a variety of uses that could require more parking. You've done your traffic studies and traffic analysis based on the breakdown, the office warehouse that you've anticipated so far, right?
Well, actually, for the land use amendment, we did the traffic study based on the 700 and some odd thousand square feet versus the 475.
Okay.
But in terms of the analysis that we did for the circulation and everything, I think we built in some flexibility there too. But in these types of buildings, you don't know who your tenant's going to be until you start building it and they see it and they want to come. And we're doing a project in Coral Springs right now where one of the tenants said, we need 10% more office space and 10% less warehouse. There we had to make sure we could make that parking work, and we had to make adjustments. Here, we were lucky to have enough room to add extra parking so we don't have to make those adjustments.
And so if those uses come, if they're allowed by code and they have the parking, they're just in, no problem. If they happen to be conditional uses or something, that comes through the process for evaluation as required. Understood. Okay, that answers that question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Would there be on-site staff as it relates to people that police officer could contact if there was any concerns there? Would there be somebody outside, or would it be a company managing it?
So one of the things my client does is manage these kinds of properties. So we build them and we manage them as well. And we have as part of our SEPTED program with the police department, well, not only will we have a leasing office on the property, but we also have cameras and everything else that is required to make sure we have proper security. And yes, there is always someone that the police and fire department can call that can handle it on the property itself.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? All right. I'll open it up to the public in case there's somebody who would like to speak on this. Okay, seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. And with that, I think you're good with what you've said? You have no closing comments? Okay. All right, and with that, the chair will entertain a motion on this item.
Before the motion, I just want to clarify. The staff conditions, since they were amended here, when we get to that portion, do we need to say as amended by staff, or want to clarify any of that? Just based on the fact that there were some.
They amended the first one, I believe.
Amended conditions.
It's still 10 conditions, but the 10 conditions as amended.
Thank you.
I don't know if this question is for the attorney, but I've never approved anything prior to the county approving something that's pending, so how would, before I make the motion, maybe I should make the motion. Maybe Mr. Attorney should make the motion, but
It's number 9.
number
It's a
9.
condition, it's one of the conditions.
Yeah, it's one of the conditions.
That they have to obtain. So I think you're fine. It's a condition, it's fine.
That's one of the reasons I asked him so many questions about like DOT and the county. I wanted to see where he was at
I
because,
just checked with Max, because this is not an unusual condition in my experience, because the county always goes second.
yeah.
They never go first.
It's also not something that always requires a condition. In this instance, it was added because of the sort of uniqueness of the variance with the driveway depths, and it was a recommendation of the city's traffic consultant. That way we have the peace of mind that all of this has been addressed by all of the relevant agencies.
This is my expertise, so I'm just asking questions to make sure I'm understanding it correctly before I make a motion or vote. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? And with that, the chair will entertain a motion on item number 1.
Consideration for LN 769 for flea market site plan. I make a motion that the board recommends approval that substantial and credible information has been provided with said 10 conditions recommended by staff.
Okay. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
As amended.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any questions on the motion? Any comments? Seeing none. Saul, call the roll on item number 1, please.
Thunder King,
Yes.
Paul Fisher,
Yes.
Gigi Dubeck,
Yes.
Marion Edge,
Yes.
Robert Hartzell,
Yes.
David Mingus, Fred Stacer.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Good luck. All right. With that, move on to the next item, which is audience to be heard. Anybody in the audience? Seeing none. We'll move on and time for staff reports. You guys got any reports tonight? No? Nobody? Over here? I know Mr. Saunders would like to go home. He's been worn out. He's been like the only attorney in the city of Pompano this week. How many weeks you get off after this? That's what I want to know. You're going to need it. Okay. And we were the easy ones. So there.
Did you even go home last night?
Yeah. Yeah, because he already had this one figured out, see? Okay, with that. All right, so with that, we'll go to board member discussion. Mrs. Edge, you have anything for us tonight?
No, nothing for me, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Fisher?
Yes, I'd just like to read something into the record.
Okay.
Earlier this week, my ethics and voting record were falsely questioned as a member of the ECRA Advisory Committee and the Planning and Zoning Board. I have proudly served as a volunteer on this board since September of 2022, first as an alternate and now as a permanent seat. Every vote I have casted has been based solely on the evidence presented during the meeting for that specific item, whenever there is even a possibility of a conflict of interest. It is disclosed to council and reviewed prior to the meeting. As this process was followed before my vote on the major site plan PNZ 25-1200002, which was the Botanical Garden and our McNabb House and Botanical Garden on the last agenda, which ultimately passed with unanimous approval. I respectfully request that all false accusations and unfounded assumptions cease immediately. These claims are inaccurate and without factual basis. Thank you.
Okay. Mrs. King? Mr. Hartzell?
Just one thing. On that development, if it becomes a distribution center, please watch out, staff, for the school. Because if there's a lot of, I've seen it around in other counties where they get distribution centers, and it's like a slew of vans coming out of there. It's not as much truck traffic because those trucks unload, but the daily vans that come out of there, and it's not just Amazon, it's all the little GoFu and all these little distribution centers, but when it's over 100,000 square feet, that's indicative of a distribution center. Just please keep an eyeball on that school and make sure that, you know, if there is a lot of traffic going there at the same time that the school's there, that the kids don't get run over, whatever, you know, traffic calming device you need to do. I was hesitant to vote for it, but they met all the qualifications, and, you know, since they did, I did vote for it. That's all I have, and thank you, guys.
Okay. Mrs. Stubing? Anything? No? Okay. I just have a couple of small things. Last night at the, actually, at our last ECRA meeting, there was a discussion brought up, and Mrs. Neiswanger had brought up the fact that, and I had not thought about it in some time, the fact that our traditional volunteer lunch that had been prior to COVID for many years back had lapsed, and we had not brought it back, and we're obviously well past COVID time. And so I had spoke at the commission meeting and asked them to consider that, and actually during reports they did, and they've asked staff to look into it. I can tell you over the years of having been on various boards and stuff, I've been on several boards, and I've had the pleasure to work with probably about 75 to 100 different volunteers. We have 170 to 180 volunteers at any one time in this city, and I've had a chance to work with so many people, y'all right now. And I think this is a really good chance for people to get a chance to see folks that they don't see. I've been on so many boards that sometimes there's people I only see once a year, and it was at that volunteer lunch, and it gives you a good chance to get back and meet with other people who really care about the city and spend time. It's, you know, when you think about how many people that is, it's probably tens of thousands of volunteer hours per year that the city benefits from, and we as citizens, and certainly on this board, we probably spend as much time as almost any board or as a board member. So I thought it was a good thing, and so I brought it up, and I'm just letting you guys know if you didn't see it last night. So, and I think, like I said, they've instructed staff, so hopefully we'll get in the queue again maybe next year and get that going. So. And I think with that, that's about all I have for the night. So, when do I have my button? Oh, almost. I move we adjourn. I move we adjourn. Okay, there we go.